Hi everyone, it's Molly again, and I'm here to recommend some romance books based on favourite tropes of mine, or just tropes in general that everyone loves to hate or loves. But yeah, I thought I'd go through a list. I've got 10 different tropes and 10 different books to share with you today, and I hope you really enjoy it. First trope is bad boy, good girl, and this is one I love, or at least it was like one of my favourite things. It's pretty much all I read when I was like 14 on Wattpad, and just all of them, let's be honest, all the good books on Wattpad back then were all bad boy books. So the book I picked for this trope is Bully by Penelope Douglas. This book is so fun, like it's so YA and it's so fun and it's high school and it's all that stuff that you just love. And if you don't love it, you loved it once, and if you didn't, you missed out big time. This book follows a girl called Tate and a boy called Jared, and they were best friends growing up, neighbours, inseparable, went to school together, like they were just the bestest of friends, until one day Jared stops talking to Tate and he decides to make it his life mission to ruin her life and her high school experience, and he becomes her bully. And this book follows her trying to figure out where she went wrong and what she done wrong, and why he's all of a sudden making her life a living hell, and why he despises her. And it's just so fun. We love a friends to enemies to lovers story that's coming up. I almost didn't really know where to put this, but Jared is one of the ultimate bad boys. He's one of them boys that he's so mean, but like, you love it. I know, we all need to get over our toxic man loving stuff, but sometimes it's hard not to, and you just kind of got to go with it, and this book is definitely one of them, so I'd highly recommend it to anyone. The second trope I picked is cry-worthy. I don't really know if this is a trope, I didn't really know, but I wanted to add in a really good cry book. My little sister, all she loves to read is books that make her cry, and I can never find videos like dedicated on that. So if you want to hear more, if you love a good cry in a book, definitely let me know in the comments and I'll get some books together for that. But the book I picked for this category is If There's No Tomorrow by Jennifer L. Armentrout. This book I've not heard anyone talk about before. I stumbled across it and read it, and it quickly became one of my favourites. I fell in love with it. Again, it's YA, and it just broke my heart into like a million pieces. Like, it's one of them books that throughout the whole thing you have this lump in your throat and you just can't clear it. And it's so emotional and it's so thought-provoking, and I just think that everyone should give it a go. This book follows a girl called Lena, and she's one of the people that are always looking forward to tomorrow, living life at the fullest, especially when she's going into her senior year of high school, until one summer night she gets in a car accident with 4 or 5 of her friends, and everyone but her dies, and she survives the crash. And it just follows her on the survivor's guilt journey, where she's trying to get over her guilt for being the only one that survives, and some other circumstances that are surrounding it that I don't want to go into or give any spoilers away from. But it's her trying to figure out how to live again and to form relationships and just kind of forgive herself for surviving. And yeah, it's just one of them things where you're in her head and you really get to feel the emotion. Jennifer L. Armentrout wrote this book so well. Like, throughout the whole thing I was just constantly put in her shoes, and I actually kind of got to feel what it would be like to be in that situation. Obviously I'm not claiming to know what it would be like, because no one would ever know until you go through it, but she does a really good job of painting this kind of picture. The book is Age Gap. Now, we all love an age gap romance, and if you don't, you're lying to yourself. But this one, I thought I'd switch it up a bit and go for a female that's older instead of a male, because most of the time it is a male. Most of the time I go for a male older person, but this one I recently read and I actually really enjoyed it. It really made me laugh. I had a smile on my face throughout the whole book. It was really just good, fun, quick read that I just whizzed through, and it was so good. And that book is All Grown Up by V. Keeland. Now, I think you say it Vi. Like, I've heard a few people say Vi, but before I heard that I've been calling her V, and now I can't get V out of my head, so to me it's V. Keeland. and it's always going to be V. Keeland. This book follows a woman called Val, and she's 37, soon to be 38, and she's recently divorced, and her son's all grown up and gone off to college, so her best friend is pestering her to get onto a dating site. And in the end, Val finally warms up to the idea and soon starts talking to a guy called Donovan, and they hit it off really quick, and he really makes her laugh, and she's really feeling this guy, but she's a bit worried because he's young, 25 to be exact, so almost 12 years difference between them, and she's really young and she's not looking for anything too serious. They have a very awkward kind of first date I'll tell you about, but the moment she sees him, she instantly recognises him as someone from her past, and it turns out that he is her next door neighbour's son at the beach house that they have, and he's all grown up and he's extremely handsome, and she just doesn't know what to do, so she leaves and decides she's not going there. Not only is he too young, but he's the boy next door, and it's all just a bit too much for her, until they end up spending the summer together at their beach houses and forming this kind of summer fling, just sex kind of relationship. And that's all I'm gonna say. It's really good, it's fun, it's flirty, it will keep you going, it's quick pace, it's one you can just fly through if you're looking to literally sit down with a book for 5 hours and not move, like you'll finish it. And yeah, definitely go give that one a read. The next trope I want to talk about is the knowing them online and in person but not knowing they're the person you're talking to online. A bit long-winded, I know, but I don't know how to abbreviate that. The book I picked for this trope is Alex Approximately by Jen Bennett, and this book follows a girl called Mink, or Bailey, but her nickname is Mink, and she's been talking to a guy called Alex online for a few months, and she's got this kind of crush going on, but they live a coast apart, so there's no chance of it ever happening or them meeting in person, until one day Bailey moves in with her dad in California for the summer. I think it's just for the summer, but it could be indefinitely, I'm not too sure. And she ends up working in this tourist trap museum in California, where she meets this guy, and it turns out to be and despises him. They become kind of arch nemesis, and she knows that it's him, but she doesn't tell him that she knows, and he doesn't know it's her, and they have that whole rivalry going on, and it's just a really good fun book. It's a summer read, perfect for summer coming up. If you just want a quick standalone book to whiz through again like the previous book, just go for it. The trope I want to talk about is slow burn, but this can also go under brother's best friend, as I didn't really add that as a trope because I kind of forgot about it, but still, this could kind of fall under that as well if you're looking for that kind of recommendation. And this book is The Truth About Heartbreak by B. Celeste, and this book follows a girl called River who's adopted by the James family when she's 13, and she not only gains loving parents and a loving brother, she finds herself in a crush as well, and that's her brother's best friend Everett, and she has this massive thing for him, but he's older and she's 13 and she knows nothing could ever happen, but still she has this silly schoolgirl crush on her brother's best friend, until one day she makes a move and they end up kissing, but that night he disappears from their life, never to be heard of again. No explanation, nothing, until 3 years he returns home and she's confronted with the reason he left and his disdain, and she can't seem to figure out what she done wrong or what's kind of going on. She's all a bit confused. For all she knows is she had a crush, she thought something was happening, and then he just dropped off the face of the earth. Not only that, but they were best friends as well, and she just feels like she owed an explanation as to where he went, why he never said goodbye, and just all of that stuff. And it follows them kind of, again, friends to enemies to eventually lovers. No spoiler, we all know it's a romance book, but it's a fun journey and I would definitely recommend it. Next trope I want to talk about is adult. By adult I mean like sexy, dirty, all that kind of stuff, and that is the Come Away With Me series by Kristen Proby. I honestly don't have a clue. If you know, let me know in the comments, but I'm not going to attempt to pronounce it again. I wasn't really sure where to put this book. I was going to put it originally in famous person and non-famous person, like romances, like celebrity. It can fall under that category as well, just putting that out there. But this book follows a girl called Natalie, and she lives on the beach and she is loving life just as a photographer, just taking pictures of the sunsets and all that kind of stuff and selling them to local shops to make a living. She also does sexy photographs for like models or people that want photographs for their husbands and stuff, which is quite fun. She has this little setup in her garage, and it's really like sophisticated, elegant photography. It's not sleazy or anything like that. It's just kind of shadows and like arms in the way and all that kind of stuff, and she does that to make a living, and she's just really enjoying life until one morning she's out taking pictures on the beach and she bumps into Luke Williams. Now Luke Williams is a massive actor. He's in the spotlight for a vampire TV show or film, I can't quite remember, but it's basically like Twilight, and he's Edward Cullen, Robert Pattinson basically, and she bumps into him, but she doesn't recognise him because she's a little bit older. She never saw the shows when she was younger, so he's immediately intrigued. He's never not been recognised before, especially not by a woman. They always want something from him, or they want to be with him because of his celebrity status. So he invites her out and they go on a few dates and they have this kind of connection, and there's a lot of sex. Like, I put this in adult because of this reason alone. The whole book is basically sex. Like, if you're looking for a very raunchy sex read, like, I don't know how else to explain it. It's very sex driven. Like, the whole book, kind of like Shades, where literally you have like 1 or 2 sex scenes a chapter. Now, if I'm honest, it did get a little bit repetitive and I did get a little bit annoyed towards some parts of it, just because, like, okay, they're having sex, like, we know. Like, can you get to the story or can you do something? But overall it was really good, and sometimes you are just in a mood for that kind of book and you want to read it, so I thought I'd throw one in here anyway. And yeah, basically she's just oblivious and he loves it until like things start to get serious and he has to confront the idea of actually telling her who she is, and there's all that kind of drama. But yeah, if you're into that kind of thing or you want to explore it, this is definitely one for you. Now, the next trope I want to talk about is student teacher. This, I had a few that I was contemplating putting in, but I decided on this one ultimately because I've not heard many people talk about it before, and that's Voyeur by Fiona Cole. And this follows, well, it's a series of all like standalone books, all based around this sex club called Voyeur. And it's one of these sex clubs where it's the elite and you pay a lot of money to get in there, and there's a lot of privacy. No one knows who anyone is. Like, it's very high end, and you're basically, it's not like a strip club, there's no poles or anything, and it's basically where men or women or couples or anything, they pay and they go in and they can watch live sexual performances. It's kind of weird, it sounds weird, I know. I was a bit skeptical at first as well, but here we go. It's that kind of club. The first book, Voyeur, follows called Oakland, and I think she's a freshman in college. I can't quite remember where, but she's in college anyway. And her parents have spent her tuition money and she has to find a way to pay it, or she is going to lose her scholarship. So her friend hooks her up with this job at Voyeur, and at first she's hesitant, as anyone would be, but she goes there and she sees what it's about, and she sees the choices she has, and that like the limits there are, and how non-sleazy it is. She is observed by this guy called Callum, and he turns out to be her professor, and he doesn't know that it's a student and she doesn't know that it's his teacher until the first day of school when she walks into his classroom. It's not as weird as it seems, I promise. When you're actually reading it, it sounds weird hearing someone else talk about it and trying to explain it out loud. It makes you sound like, oh, but when you're reading it, you're really not. It doesn't make you uncomfortable, there's nothing like that, and if it does, then the book's not for you. But if the book is for you, definitely go and give it a read. The next is famous or like celebrity romance, and the book I ended up picking for this is The Heartbreakers by Ali Novak. This was originally a Wattpad book. Don't let that put you off, it's actually quite fun. I read it quite a few years ago now, so it's a little bit fuzzy, but I remember really enjoying it, and I don't know if that was because I was a little bit younger, but I enjoyed it nonetheless. This book follows a girl called Stella, and she will stop at nothing to please and make her sick sister Cara happy. So she decides to go to New York or wherever it is to a signing of her sister's favourite band and get an autograph and a picture for her, maybe a video of them wishing her a happy birthday. And she gets to New York and stops for coffee before she goes in, and in the coffee shop she bumps into this really handsome guy and they kind of have a little flirty moment, and then she leaves and she's kind of a little bit upset that she didn't get his number, but nevertheless she's there to do something for her sister, so she goes to this signing, and it turns out the lead singer of this band is Oliver, the guy she met in the coffee shop. And it turns on its head when he hires her to be their photographer for their tour, and she goes on tour with them, and it's just really fun. She's with these 4 guys and they have a lot of fun. There's a lot of pranks and it's them falling in love and just all that stuff, so go check that one out as well. Final trope I want to talk about is friends to lovers. Now this I've covered with a couple of these books, could fall under this category as well, but because I didn't specifically put them in this category, I feel like I've got to throw it in there. And the book I picked for this is A Room Hate by Penelope Ward. It follows this girl called Amelia, and when her grandma dies she leaves the house to her and her childhood friend Justin, who was really close with her grandma as well, and she leaves the house to both of them, like joint custody. And so she goes to the beach house for the summer expecting to spend it there alone, until Justin turns up with his girlfriend or fiance or something like that, and both being as stubborn as hell, they're not willing to give up the house, so they end up spending the summer there together. And things happen, pasts are dug up, tea is spilled. I can't explain it all, but just know it's good. It's a slow burn, it's a friends to lovers, it's a summer, it's a beach romance, like it's everything. It's just so good. Definitely go check it out, or at least read the synopsis and decide for yourself, because I'm not the best at explaining about books, but I just want to make you all read them because they're so cool. Like all of them on this list I thoroughly enjoyed, some more than others, but I would recommend any of them, and if they're your cup of tea, definitely go read them. But that's it for this video, and if you've read any of these or if you're going to go read them, definitely let me know in the comments. If you want to see more videos like this, definitely let me know. I have tons of recommendations for these tropes because I'm a tropey girl, and I'll do that for you. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!